Good morning, people. Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible live stream, AI and Life Sciences from Hype to Real Impact. We're really excited you guys are here. We hope you love that little countdown that we did with some AI music. Hopefully it gave you guys some energy this morning. We're very excited to talk about this topic. We actually did a poll in our last webinar about different things people wanted, and this one came out as the winner. So this is what you guys wanted, and we're here to deliver. If you're the first time sort of viewer to these live streams, we do them every month or so, and we try to give you guys some new knowledge, give you guys some tactical things, some strategic things that you guys can work on in your brands and in your businesses. So it's a really great opportunity for you guys to learn from us, the experts that are working with this sort of on a day-to-day basis. So thank you guys so much for joining. And I'm sure as people come in, we'll invite them in and get everything going here. We also have a crew behind the camera running things. We'll reach out to them often to ask for some things. So don't be surprised if that happens. So just a little bit of housekeeping as well. If you have questions during the session, don't be afraid to ask those things. We will try to get to them at the end. There is a question and answer section at the end of the presentation. So don't be afraid to get those in while we're actually speaking so that you remember them and get them in. And we'll try to do our best to get to all of those questions. So a little bit about who we are. So I'm Chris Kubbco. I'm the CEO and founder of Kubbco. We're an advertising agency based in Copenhagen, Denmark. I'm originally Canadian, but I've been living here in Europe for the past 17 years. And my agency is really focused on helping life science brands do way, way better in social media. And we'll have one quick slide about us. So don't worry, this is not a sales thing at all. We have one quick slide that is about us in the future, in like 10 slides or something like that. So don't be scared. Also, this is being recorded. So you will get a link for an on-demand version of this where you can rewatch it, you can send it to your team. And if you do need to dip out, go to another meeting or a toilet break or something, don't be scared of doing that. We will send out the on-demand link. The other thing I'd really love from you guys is to try to put your phones away. Try to don't put your laptops away because I'm assuming you're watching on your laptop, but put your phones away. Try to focus, try to lock in because we are going fast and hard here with a lot of information and you guys got to be sort of in tune with that. So, and to my left is the amazing Kamal Kader. You want to say a few words about yourself?
Yes, thank you, Chris. And thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Kamal. I'm the Client Services Director at Kubbco. I've been in marketing for the past 10 to 12 years, coming up to that now. And within those 12 years, 8 years of those have been very focused on life science, pharma, medtech, and so on. So I really hope to be able to inspire you guys today. I just want to thank you for your time first and foremost. And yeah, let's get it started.
Cool. So Kamal will dip out in a bit, but he's going to stick around for a few more slides and then he'll come back and then I'll come in and we'll be basically taking different parts of this presentation. So what are you guys actually going to get out of today? So the big one here is how to actually use AI, right? There's a lot of hype, and that's why this is called From Hype to Real Impact, is because there is so many hyped out things out there that really are not contributing to your workflow, to your daily use of AI. We want to strip that out and actually get to the meat of this. So we're going to give you guys actionable things that you can use today after you even leave this live stream, and also some future outlook. What is coming that you're going to see, that you're going to use really, really soon. You're also going to get what mistakes to avoid. So we've been using AI for many, many years. I personally have been in the AI game for 12 years, doing also apps and things like that. And we're going to go through what are those 3 key things that you should avoid at all costs, right? So these 3 mistakes we see companies, people making all the time. And we're going to show you guys how to actually avoid those mistakes and do better content and do better campaigns. The other big one is how to stay compliant. So obviously being in a highly regulated industry like pharma, medtech, life sciences, is how do you actually use AI and stay compliant? How do you be creative and stay compliant? And then also there's some AI rules and regulations that are here now today, and also ones that are coming in the future that you need to be prepared for. So we're going to actually go through some of those things as well. Before we get into the meat of this though, I would love to get a quick poll on you guys. How are you actually, how would you rate the use of your company or your company's use of AI today? We'd love to learn about that from you guys. So Emil's behind the camera here is going to run the poll and let us know. If you guys could fill that in really quickly, We'd love to know, how's everybody doing out there? Are you guys killing it? Are you crushing it? Or could it be better? Or maybe you haven't even started. How's it looking, Emil's? He's waiting for the thousands of you to put in your information.
10 more to go.
There you go. Put in your answers. It's very important for us to understand, where are you guys at?
Yeah. So it's split between getting better but okay, and we're on the way.
Good. Okay, I love it. So this is awesome. So a lot of you are already still starting to use AI. You're doing okay as you see it, but you're on the way. It could be better. This is probably the case for most companies and most people. Also because AI is changing so fast that it's hard to keep completely on top of things. We even have, to be really, really diligent, almost daily, trying new tools, doing new things to stay on top of it. So it is a constant struggle. So why are we actually here? Why is this an important topic? Obviously, the last point here, AI isn't the future, it's now, is probably the most important one, is that we are not waiting for some sort of AI future. It is actually now. And you can see that by the poll here, that you guys are actually using it daily in your companies. So it is now. We can't ignore it. We have to do something about it. The other big thing is that there is a budget squeeze in life sciences. There's a budget squeeze in a lot of marketing departments, a lot of content teams, and AI is a cure for that in some ways. AI can help you guys get out of those budget squeezes and do more with your budget. And then obviously part of that budget squeeze is shrinking teams, growing demands, marketing teams, content teams. There's more demand on you guys than ever. And of course, there's compliance bottlenecks and much, much more hitting us all. And AI can help us do all of those things. So remember, I had that one slide that was about us. This is it. So after this point, it's all knowledge. So where we're the agency that's really helping life science brands do amazing social content. And you might be actually even from one of these companies that we've worked with in the past or work with currently. So we are focused in this area. We have a lot of cases, a lot of clients in this area. And we think it's one of the most exciting areas when it comes to AI as well, because there's a lot of opportunity, but there's also a lot of challenges. And we love that. And we love helping you guys with your challenges. So if you see yourselves here, or if you recognize these companies, we love that. And this is where we really focus on things. So if you're looking for a life science social agency, really get your content up there, really get your engagement back, your reach back, we're probably the guys to help you out. So I'm going to say goodbye to Kamal now. He's going to be back in a little bit, but we're going to show some cases right now of how actual brands are using AI today. Bye, Kamal. See you in a bit.
See ya.
So how is AI actually being used in life sciences already today? And we're talking about even stuff that was done maybe 2 years ago. One of the cool ones that we like to take note of and follow up on is Pfizer's Charlie platform. And Charlie platform is quite an interesting one because it's not just an AI tool. It's actually a workspace and a community centered around the Pfizer teams where they can share knowledge. They can, of course, use the workplace tools like MLR and chat sort of bots and things like that. But they can also share how are they using AI? What are they doing? And this is really important when it comes to AI because there is so much going on that you need some sort of place where you can, communicate with your peers, your other employees, all your teammates, and really get in there and sort of go, oh, we did this, or we did this. And also have a place where you can stick all of your consumer insights, all of the knowledge, so that it's in one place. So this is the 5 key things that Charlie actually does for Pfizer, which is it scales content production by 3 to 5x because they have the tools in there to do that. It automates medical legal review. And I highlight this one because we actually have an MLR AI tool that we'd like to share with you guys today as a free gift that you can take away from just attending today. And I'll get back to that in a bit. So it automates some of the medical legal review. Obviously, humans still need to be involved, but it helps a little bit in that area. And then it provides integrated marketing intelligence. So it actually allows them to plug in all of their different parts, right? All of their different data parts to use the AI to actually, find some insights on that marketing intelligence and provide better content and better campaigns and better knowledge to their teams. And then it also generates consumer insights. So when you have all of your different, key data points coming in, you're then able to look at, oh, okay, what messaging would actually work here, or what, market should we go into with this, or things like that. So when you have one location and you have an AI brain doing all that work for you, you can generate customer insights quite quickly, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, it ensures compliance and accuracy by having some MLR check automated in there, also some fact checking with AI tools that can do it much faster than humans can, right? Like I said, we still need humans to double check and to triple check things, but at least it covers that first part. Another great case is from GSK, and I really love this case because I think it shows just the power of how you can make content using AI. So GSK had an issue, right? Their Biotene solution, which is a dry mouth treatment, really faced a lot of low awareness. 43% of sufferers didn't even know it was a treatable disease or a treatable, thing. And then only 52% actually believed in over-the-counter solutions, right? They thought they had to go to their doctor, get a prescription, or things like that. So there was a lot of awareness work that needed to be done. So how did they solve this? So they wanted to use an AI solution to create ads from scratch using stock imagery, which I'm sure a lot of us watching and being a part of this today know, who've been in the industry. Stock imagery is a good way of actually getting campaigns, content out the door. We can't always go shoot. So using stock imagery, they were able to create different ads with different generative text and things like that. And then they were able to launch that and then continually optimize in real time during the campaign, right? So taking all of the knowledge and then feedback looping that into content creation to go with another image, another piece of text, another message. So I love this GIF because that's like from Breaking Bad. I love Breaking Bad. And this is scientific. This is a scientific approach to ad creation. This isn't just, oh, we think of some ideas, we produce the content, we put it out there, we set it and forget it. No, this is continuous improvement, optimized in real time, scientifically checking, does this work, does that work? And AI is perfect for this. And you can see these tools actually being built into most advertising systems today. So this allowed them to also test multiple hypotheses simultaneously: the strategy, the visuals, the audience, the tone, the timing, what time of day did it come out, all of these different, was it the weekend, was it a Tuesday? It allowed them to pull in all these different parts to optimize their campaign and discover the best performing elements and basically just keep building on that until they got to the best performing stuff. And some of the neat results actually came from this is that just in a small 2-month campaign, they saw an increase of 2.3% on engagement, which is quite solid actually, considering engagement is quite low normally. A cost per click down of 42%. So they're basically reducing their cost per click, which we all love. That's going to give us more money towards more ads or more creative. And then a click-through rate improvement of 133%. Which is fantastic. I mean, all of us want to almost double our click-through rate, specifically if we have landing pages or things like that to promote our products, or even to over-the-counter sales locations, e-commerce, for this type of solution. So this really turned around the sales for the brand. So it was a massive, massive improvement. And some of the key insights that were discovered, which is even more important, right, is that they were able to discover that actually they thought that the medical cannabis users would be the most important audience for them when they were launching this campaign, when they did their hypothesis. But they actually found that it was family caregivers that was the best performing, right, when it came to click-through, when it came to awareness, when it came to sales turnaround. So this is amazing. I mean, it opened up a completely different market for them that they didn't realize that they had, that just regular family giver people were the most important, not the medical cannabis users, which is dramatic, right? It also showed them that the people who had less symptoms, no surprise there, were not the most interested, right? So people that had minor sort of symptoms, maybe dry mouth every once in a while, those sort of casual users of Biotene, they were not important at all. They wanted to get to the people that experienced the most symptoms right? So they found that through the campaign. The other thing too is that they found that their first party data, so all those consumer insights that they had from the past, was really crucial for the campaign to understand where do they start, where do they go from here. So this is some key insights from the Biotein case. The last case is closer to home. Novo Nordisk, who's actually one of a client of ours, actually using AI for their newsletters. So Novo Nordisk was interested in finding out how could they get better performance out of their newsletter systems for HCPs within this certain area, within type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes. And actually what they did is they developed a AI-powered brand language optimization technology. And I know that sounds like a mouthful, but essentially what it is basically an LLM that generates and optimizes email subject lines. It creates on-branded email content sort of automatically, sort of a modular content system that pulls from different places. And it used natural language processing to maintain the brand voice, right? So some guardrails there to make sure that it was on brand. And then they use this to create all sorts of different email newsletters. And I love this system because as marketers, as agency people, we often want to do as much content as possible because although we might have great insights and great creative work and things like that, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's actually going to work unless we start testing it. And a system like this allows us to scale the content up, figure out what is actually working here, and be able to deploy it. So we love AI systems for this, and that's exactly what Novo did here. The results was a 24% increase in open rates, which is fantastic. So definitely doing something right when it comes to the subject lines. A 14% increase in click rates, which is also dramatically better. And then what this actually gave them is that a faster campaign deployment, right? So way quicker, consistent brand messaging across all communications, which is always a trick, right? And then it reduced the manual copywriting workload. Now, we don't think that AI is completely replacing copywriters, but we do think that it's definitely allowing us to increase the amount of opportunities, increase the output, and do much better content and get it out quicker. So it's a really great case here. If any of these cases are interesting to you, I think that what you should take away from these cases is that AI is a great tool for scaling up your ideas, for taking what do you have and actually iterating on it and really getting to data-driven decision-making regarding what is actually working. So I really encourage you guys out there to start thinking about how do we use AI systems to scale that content up, modularize it, combine it to make different things, and then put it out there and get the data to improve. So that's a little bit from me. I'll come back in a bit. Kamal's going to run you guys through some really cool AI things, and I'll be back later. See you.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah. Good stuff. Always great with some real life cases. As Chris also mentioned earlier, AI is not the future. It's already happening now. A lot of companies are really leveraging this opportunity here. But it's not just the companies, it's also the tech platforms. They're, of course, following this trend of AI. And when you look at the platforms, they clearly use it in the way that they also sort campaigns, content, that they analyze the consumers. Everything is done with AI right now. So it really comes down to having this shift in mindset when it comes to content creation and campaigns. And they're also making new ground rules for that as well. But something that hasn't changed is the fact that all good communication still starts with understanding your target audience. So still looking for these core insights. And I'm going to show you how you can go from insights to actual content using AI. So for example, let's say that we want to develop an insight that we want to use for a campaign or a communication. We can say that the topic is Crohn's disease. We can go in and we can use platforms or softwares like Claude AI. It could also be ChatGPT. It could be Manus AI. There are a ton of softwares and tools out there. But let's ask AI, what kind of insights can we get from the consumers on forums like Reddit, other online forums, social media, and so on. And we want to ask specifically, what are the fears, the worries, the triggers, the challenges that these consumers also face in their daily lives? Because that's why we're here as businesses as well, to help them solve their challenges in their daily lives. So one example here, when we ask for an insight, it gives us a lot of different insights. It gives us a lot of different articles and knowledge. And that's also where the human interaction has to come in. We have to go in and sort all of those insights and figure out what is actually important here, right? So in relation to Crohn's disease, we found this one interesting insight that said, for people with Crohn's disease, going out can feel overwhelming with constantly having anxiety about where's the closest bathroom. So that's something we can, of course, take from the AI and use for a conceptual framework here. But once again, we can also use AI to generate ideas for concepts and messages and further development of this communication here. In this case, we use ChatGPT. And as you know, ChatGPT gives you all sorts of information and ideas, especially if you ask it for ideas. It can go crazy. Some of it is what we call AI slop, and some of it is actually really good. So that's another touch point for the human interaction, figuring out what ideas are actually good, although they're AI generated. And it gave us something that's pretty solid in my mind. When it comes to people with Crohn's disease, it gave us this idea here. There's no plan B. For most people, plan B means backup plans. For people with Crohn's, it's bathrooms. Every outing mapped around exits, stalls, worst case scenarios, but life shouldn't be lived in plan B mode. With treatment that helps keep your Crohn's in control, you can start thinking about where you're going, not where the bathroom is. So this is a really good starting point that allows us to visualize, okay, how can the content then look? What could the messaging be? What could all the headlines and the taglines be for this content here, right? But I want to address something that has changed vastly in the digital landscape. As I mentioned earlier, the platforms are following this AI trend. So they're also demanding different things from companies running ads on their platforms right now. This is the old school way of doing marketing. We used to take an insight, so what I just showed you before, translate that into a main message and a concept, and then we would spit out an ad or a series of ads. And usually when we run campaigns, we always think about how can this look like a unified campaign? What is the red thread? Will people be able to notice that this is from the same series of content? That has been turned completely upside down with all the new changes, because this is no longer what people like Mark Zuckerberg wants. They're changing how they assess content and how they distribute it to the target audiences on the platforms. Right now, they're asking for variety and volume. And it's very clear. They've, for example, launched this Meta Andromeda. This is specifically for Facebook and Instagram, that basically uses AI to go in and figure out, based on the consumer data we have, what should we show the people in their feeds. So it requires a lot of variety. If you put all of your eggs in one basket, you also risk that you're going to lose that auction, and then your entire campaign just won't perform, right? So this is actually a good reminder for your next campaign. If you have a concept, just as I showed you before with the plan B, think about having at least 4 to 10 unique designs per concept. Think about it, there has to be a big difference in layout, visual style, even the copy. So it shouldn't look unified creatively. Make sure that your static and video designers collaborate together on ideas, as well as your copywriters and concept developers. It shouldn't be siloed. And also make sure that every concept you launch is seen as a bundle of variations. That's how you increase the hit rate with your content, making sure that it's a broad variety that the algorithm and their AI engine can basically choose from. Because the bottom line is, when it comes to running campaign on digital and social, targeting is completely commoditized. Creative is now the only real lever we can pull on. Beforehand, we used to go in and look at targeting as a very specific and narrow exercise where you have to find your specific segment, figure out what are their core interests, where do they live, what channels do they follow, and so on. They've turned that upside down. You have to target broad, but you have to let the creative be the targeting measure here. So your creative is basically the one determining who's going to see the content. And that's something you really have to think about when you produce content. So the creative red thread is dead. Rest in peace. It was good. We've done a lot of campaigns where you can really see that there is a creative red thread. I'm not saying there can't be any visual clues, but for the AI algorithm to work with your content, it has to look different as well. So now you have to look for a different type of red thread. And that might also challenge corporate CVIs, visual directions that companies have already worked with for the past couple of years here. You need more flexibility now. So instead of letting the creative be your red thread, look at the inside as your red thread. Look at the concept being your red thread. That's what has to shine through. And I'll demonstrate how that can actually look, right? So we've developed the inside, we've developed the concept using AI. Now let's move on to the visual as well. And as I mentioned, you need to do a variety. So if we take this concept, but we then need 6 or 7 different ads, how can we have AI also help with that? So this is just a quick example. It's generated with ChatGPT, so it's not perfect, but it basically shows you one campaign, how different that can look from a visual standpoint, but also from a copy standpoint. The core insight and the message and the concept is still the same, but it's different settings, it's different types of people in the content, it's different visuals, different copies. So this thing, we're not saying go out on AI, generate people, patients, and so on, but this can at least be something that can help you ideate for how should you actually go out and shoot your campaign, or what type of content should you produce for your campaign. And then my last note for this segment before I hand it back to Chris is do not put AI in the driver's seat. So you're still the decision maker, you're the taste maker, you know what's good, what's not good. You understand your company better than ChatGPT or any other AI software out there. So yeah, just keep having lead on what's going to happen with your campaigns and your content. Yes, Chris.
Thanks, Kamal. Really interesting. I love that. I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about we really need variety now. There's opportunity there to scale your content, and I really think that's a fantastic way to really use AI. And as you can see from those examples that we made in ChatGPT, I mean, there is this opportunity to do all sorts of different directions for the visuals. Now, I wouldn't recommend you use ChatGPT for visuals, and we'll get into what we actually recommend from a workflow standpoint these days. But you could easily even take those into real production if you're not ready to use AI tools for your full visuals. There's some regulations within companies, obviously within the highly regulated life sciences business, but you can really see what's powerful there and what's possible there. So I know this is a little small for you guys there, but I will, if you can take a screenshot of this, this is kind of the workflow. This is a basic workflow that a lot of you probably use today or could use today, and I'll get into a more advanced one in a second. But it basically comes down to what we already showed you. So research, finding your insights using tools like Perplexity is really great. Manus.ai, we already mentioned. ChatGPT, obviously, and Claude as well that we showed you there. So for consumer insight, finding that data, this is really great. And then moving that over to ideation. So finding that core story like we did, that no plan B, then you visualize it. I'm not saying generate the visuals. When I say visualize it, I mean give me ideas on what the visuals should be, not generating the images yet. Then you can use ChatGPT, your own mind, which I think is still a very valid tool here. And then Manus.ai as well is great for taking that insight, turning it into a core story, and then giving me an idea of what the visuals could be, giving yourself some ideas. Then actual image generation or video generation, we're talking about Midjourney here, fantastic. Higgsfield, Kling AI out of China is really great. VO3, Nano Banana from Google is fantastic. And then InVideo is actually a really great tool that we like to use, which actually combines a whole bunch of different models. So you get to try out the best of the best all within one system. So for image generation, video generation, this is where you're going to do that once you have your core story and your visuals, right? So you're taking that prompt of, hey, the visual could be that, putting it into an image generator or video generator and working with it that way. Now, there's a lot of complex things behind that, but that's essentially what you do. And then iterations, so edits. As we know, nothing comes out perfect. We need to edit it a bit. That would be your Nano Banana again, or Canva, as in using Canva's AI tools or manual tools, and then Adobe tools as well, using sort of manual Adobe tools or also Adobe's AI tools. So that's a quick sort of basic workflow. Now, if you're more advanced, and this is coming, and I believe this is what the next 6 months, a year, maybe even more in AI, this is the kind of systems that we use where you're not just jumping from tool to tool to tool. You're actually setting up a repeatable process and a node system, an AI chat node system that basically walks through the first thing. So when you have your inputs, and I know it's hard to see this, but when you have your inputs, Then it's porting it out to all the different places. This happens to be a template for creating a brand, right? So this is for a coffee brand, but you could do it for anything. But essentially, like once you have your insights, it's moving through the nodes to give you the final output, which was some different coffee mock-ups here. Now, this is the future of using AI systems. This is actually, I would even say now, what we're using, what a lot of people are using. And if you guys would like a more advanced tutorial on this, maybe your company wants to get more into AI, wants to see the future, let me know. Email me here, chris@kubbco.com. We'd be happy to come out, show your teams what is actually going on behind the scenes, what's really hitting on the AI scene right now, and actually walk you through some of these systems. So this is a more advanced system, and you can actually see how this could work for pharma or for medtech. So we have this system that we like to use for actually localizing content. And what it does is once you have this template set up, you're looking at an image input. So all the insights that we got before, then putting it all in here, putting what is our product. We're just taking sort of a mock-up product here. It's a cholesterol drug or a cholesterol over-the-counter drug. And then it's actually making all the systems or making all the different inputs to generate an image of an older man in his garage, has the pill bottle there, and then outputting that into different videos and different languages. So we've got Italian, Spanish, and English, and then it's making the video. So all one step. Literally, we are just kicking this off, rolling the ball down the hill, and then it's outputting this 5 to 10 minutes later, which is incredible. Something that would take us months, maybe weeks to produce is now being done in a matter of minutes. So we're going to showcase some of these videos to you guys. Are they perfect? By all means, no. And any of you Spanish speakers or Italian speakers would probably be like, maybe this is off. But it is an interesting look at what does the future of this look like, and is this going to get even better? Yes, absolutely. So Emils, if you could play the English one for me, we'll go through that first.
Every year, 4.4 million people die from high cholesterol. You can't feel it, but you can get tested. Have a chat with your doctor. They might suggest this.
So this is incredible, right? Created completely from AI. We didn't really touch this. All we did was give it the inputs, and off to the races it went. Now play the Italian or the Spanish for me, please.
Ogni anno 4,4 milioni di persone muoiono a causa del colesterolo alto. Non lo senti. Puoi farti testare. Parla con il tuo medico, magari ti consiglierà questo.
Very fast Italian, but Italian nonetheless. And give me the Spanish one too, please.
Cada año mueren 4,4 millones de personas por el colesterol alto. No lo sentís, pero podés hacerte el test. Habla con tu médico y capaz te recomiende esto.
So to me, this is mind-blowing that we're already at a place where it actually looks quite realistic. It sounds very realistic. The mouth moves and it changes based on the language, and the movement of the camera, the movement of the pill bottle, all of that is quite impressive, guys. So give this another 6 months and we will not be able to determine what is AI and what is shot. I guarantee you. So, and when this can be created in 10 minutes versus 10 weeks, we're talking about a massive shift in how advertising and marketing is done today. So if you'd like an advanced class, master class on this, let us know. We'll come out and we'll showcase this to your teams. I'm going to hand it back to Kamal now, who's got some more on digital twins, which is another exciting area within AI.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you for still being tuned in. Those were some great insights, and it also just shows that scalability is possible with AI. Although the platforms are demanding it, of course, we shouldn't just scale mindlessly. It still has to be quality content. But I also do believe it's coming down the line in a few months here, right? Another thing I want to talk about today is digital twins. It's a segment that I also had in the previous webinar about content scaling, but there was a lot of interest in this. And also it is really something you can already consider now, as it's working quite well. So what is a digital twin? A digital twin is an AI-generated avatar of a real person used for content creation. So what Chris just showed you was completely AI-generated. The difference here is that you've shot a real model, you've basically scanned that model, and then you're using that model as an AI avatar. And that also puts away doubt in terms of AI generation if you're generating an actual human that lives somewhere in the world, because everything is based on existing data, right? So it gives you more security and more safety in terms of the avatars that you're working with. Plus, it also presents a new way of working with talent, which is quite interesting. So it's not a complete new thing. It's something companies have already worked with. H&M is a really good example. So this model here is the real model. Some of you have probably seen it before. But it basically shows that there's finally a way for her to be in New York and in Tokyo on the same day. And that is what this AI digital twin approach can basically help you with: localization, putting in different scenes without having to shoot them afterwards, doing modifications to existing content. Let's say you did an entire film shoot, but now there's one scene that was wrong and you need to fix that. There are many ways you can use this technique or this approach in. But when it comes to AI, like everything else, honesty and transparency is key. And that's also something we champion. You should always disclaim when something is AI. In this case, it was put in as digital twin in the corner here for this campaign. But even the platforms are also starting to demand it and put in legislations on tagging content. So it's just good to be on the forefront of that. And if you need advice on what the platforms are demanding, you can also reach out to us. We can give you a quick checklist, or perhaps Chris will share that later. But let's get into it, and let's also try to have some fun with it. Because when it comes to AI and this digital twin approach, how good is it actually now? So I'm just going to start by showing you a video that maybe you've seen it on social. It really depends on your algorithm. I've seen a ton of these types of videos the past couple of months. So as you can see here, we have a very famous face, Albert Einstein, fighting in the UFC. Not what you would expect, but people are obviously having fun with this, right? But the reason why I'm bringing this is not to either have your laugh or not, is basically to talk about the essence of, if you can make videos of Albert Einstein fighting in the UFC based on photos from the 1950s, imagine what you can actually do with high-res photos from 2025. So we put that to the test, and this is our creative director, Emils, who's been completely drowning himself in AI tools and anything AI the past couple of months here, and really tested out some fun stuff. So I started by just sending him a picture of me. This is taken with my phone, so it's not the best resolution you can get. And he immediately sent me this video back, which is a digital version of me. So it is my digital twin showing some sort of dishes that I didn't cook. But it's just to say that this was one prompt, and it actually looks decent. I'm just going to play it again so you can see it here. It could be polished. There are maybe a few subtle flaws, but it's pretty good just from one prompt, right? The other example he then gave me was, we took a picture actually in this very room a few weeks back, and then I wanted to see, okay, let's say I have a project where I need to localize the environment so it looks like I'm in Spain or I'm in Paris or somewhere else. And he was immediately able to place me somewhere else. This is just in a cafe, but it could be anywhere, right? If you had to design this in Photoshop, for those of you who've actually worked with design before, that would be extremely tricky. But with AI, you can actually prompt the background to change quite easily. And it looks great. I mean, it is me. So that is my digital twin here. The other challenge he was given was to take me and put me into a doctor's office, but then also make me the doctor, basically, as you see here, right? So a lot of opportunities. It really comes down to your imagination and your creativity in terms of how you want to leverage AI or digital twins for that matter. And when you do that, I mean, there are endless opportunities for social media content. So I just gave the example of Crohn's disease earlier, right? This picture could be 3 ways to diagnose Crohn's disease for an HCP campaign or something like that. Now, I'm not saying we should go out and fake doctors or patients. It's just to show you the utility that comes with the digital twins. So now let's try with some actual high-res photos. So this is an actual real image. This is a licensed stock image. He took that and he basically turned that into a digital twin very easily. So this scene here doesn't exist. This is something he prompted it to do, right? So it's pretty good. It's very hard to tell the difference. I have troubles with it. Maybe you can see subtle things that I don't. But then we also asked AI whether it could actually go in and turn this into a video. So have this person sit in front of a doctor having a conversation and then ending with a handshake. and this is what it gave us. So pretty good, I'd say. And Chris just had a good point earlier regarding the use of stock imagery, right? We always tap into these stock banks where there's a lot of stock footage, but we also from the outside see that different companies and competitors are using the same stock. So here's also an opportunity for you to actually create unique stock. Let's say you made a digital twin or made a few of them and basically build your own unique stock library that was just for your brand. That's an opportunity with this. The other thing he basically tested was, can you take this imagery and then turn it into illustration? And pretty good, right? If you had to illustrate it yourself, it would take some time. But what was really mind-blowing was when you went to the next step here, when you basically turned it into animation. So any of you who've worked with animation, especially frame-by-frame animation or animation where movements has to be really clean, like this one here, knows that this would take so long to produce. And also it would be very costly. But this is something he was able to do with AI. So that's an entire new universe you can look into. If you have AI restrictions, perhaps you can just work with the animated parts or the illustrative parts. There's also a lot of good content out there that uses mixed media, and that's an opportunity also to use stuff like this, right? So yeah, this guy is now an army of creatives, basically, right? Because AI allows him to scale content. It allows him to work faster in terms of productions. What you can't really replicate is the creativity and all the conceptual work that goes into it. Obviously, we can never duplicate a person like Emil's, but it's just to say that he has the firepower to produce much more when he uses AI and he uses it smart. So just summarizing here, 3 reasons to explore AI. The first thing is, of course, content scaling and flexibility. Already demonstrated that. The second one is localization, because if there's one thing I've learned with working with big global campaigns, especially in the life science space, is that whenever you need markets to adapt the content, there's always an issue. So either the model doesn't fit the market, the clothing doesn't really work for that market, the environment looks too Scandinavian, or there are symbols here and there that doesn't really fit what their market represents. And then the campaign dies. We don't want that, and that's where you can use AI also subtly to do some tweaks and changes, so your campaign can be localized easily to different markets. Third one here is the obvious one, cost effectiveness. There's a lot of work in developing the backend. Also, as Chris just showed you before, it is not always as simple as making one prompt in a system. But once you've figured that out, the scalability and the cost effectiveness from that is insane. So imagine you had to go on a traditional shoot in 4 different countries versus doing an AI prompt. So yeah. Those are the points that I'd like for you to consider, at least when you talk AI and digital twins. So Chris, this is your part again. I'm going to hand it back.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And if anybody's wondering, actually, I have seen that trick that Emil's does with the laser eyes. He actually can do that in real life, because I've presented some ideas to him for campaigns, and he's actually used that to destroy my ideas. So it's an actual skill he has, the actual footage. So the top 3 mistakes that to avoid, right? We've been doing this for a long, long time, and we've seen some continual issues that a lot of brand marketers, a lot of communicators within life science brands are facing, within all brands to be quite exact. So one of the number 1 ones is reliance on one tool. A lot of brands get caught up on just regulating that, okay, you can only use ChatGPT in this company, or only our own proprietary tools. And the issue with that is that all these tools are fighting each other for the best number 1 spot. And it's almost constant. Weekly, new tools come out, new features within existing tools come out, and this gets better and better and better. And if you're relying on one tool, you're going to be cooked, unfortunately, because those tools are advancing so fast that you're going to get left behind. On top of that, when we try to do campaigns, content, things like that, we're often having to jump between many different tools, or use our node-based system, which already has multiple tools built in, to produce the best results. So if you're relying on one tool, you are not getting the best results. As we also saw with ChatGPT for image generation, it just wasn't there. And ChatGPT is also not there when it comes to consumer insights or checking out forums or any sort of place where we want to gather insights. So reliance on one tool is a killer. It's a top 3 mistake. It's the number 1 mistake for a reason. And we really recommend try to get your hands on more tools. Advocate for that in your business, in your brands. And if they won't allow that, then to stay ahead of the game, you personally, in your spare time, should be checking out these other tools. Oops, go back one. The other number 1 mistake is reliance too much on AI. We talked about AI slop a little while ago. The truth is that the human brain is still very much needed in this process. And you can attest that yourself probably. You need to look through what is good, what is bad, iterate, change, ask for more input, ask for changes. You cannot just take wholeheartedly from AI and throw it out into the world. I'm very sorry. It just isn't good. And people are starting to get very smart at this, and they can notice when it's AI and when it's a human, particularly in writing, right? We could see that on LinkedIn or on other places like this. People are commenting, okay, stop with the AI. And so this is a number 2 mistake, is that you're relying too much on AI. You need to use your human brain. You need to challenge it and change it and make it your own. Last but not least, you're starting over from scratch every single time. You're not training in AI. So when we work with AI tools, we really like to work and try to train. I know we said like use multiple ones, yes, but also at the same time, try to train an AI specifically on your issues. So if that's a consumer insights AI, or if that's a generation AI, like an image generation, using that tool and training it and not just starting from scratch over and over again is really important. And you can do this through custom GPTs, custom systems, custom LLMs, or systems that remember the history, right? So you start up a project, and then that project is always your Crohn's disease project, right? So it doesn't forget all of the conversations that you've had. And this is a really good tool for speeding processes up and making sure that you're not just starting from scratch every time. So that's the number 3 mistake, and it's easy to fix. So how to stay compliant with all of this. This is a key topic for a lot of us in this space. And I mentioned before that we actually have a special tool for you guys today, free for those of you who have joined. Basically, you can email me again, chris@kubbco.com. It's an invite-only custom GPT that is trained on MLR, right? Trained on actually the FDA and European regulatory requirements. And it actually provides a risk assessment. So it actually takes a look at your campaigns, your content, whatever you're putting out or want to put out, and gives you a 1 to 10 risk assessment of how risky this is. It'll tell you where to fix it and what claims you're making or what things need to be backed up. So it's a good pre-check before you go to real MLR to see, okay, what could be some problem areas within this. So this is a very good way of actually checking your compliance early before you get into actual MLR. And like I said, that's a free gift for you guys today. We don't open it up to everybody because it's actually costly to run. But yeah, email me, chris@kubbco.com, and we'll give you guys access to this great tool. Another great tool for compliance is actually Manus AI. We've mentioned that a few times for reference work. So when you're using AI to actually create your content, and specifically within life sciences, you want to have references from medical journals, from actual peer-reviewed medical studies and things like that. And Manus AI seems to do a better job than everyone else at actually giving you those links and those references in the Oxford style to those places, so you can actually go through and double check. And I do recommend that you double check and make sure your references are good. So remember this, whenever you're making campaigns, asking an AI like Manus or others to provide you with actual links to backed up materials is really important. And please go check. I'm spitting everywhere here. The other tool that we have, or idea that we have for you guys, is that very soon, if not actually it's right now, you're going to need to start tracking what AIs you're using for your different content pieces. So this is a table that we use for content for our clients. And basically we've added an AI disclaimer on that table. That's a table cell where we actually put in what AIs were used to generate or to modify this content. And if it is modified or if it is fully generated, or what did we actually do with this? Because there's regulation coming in very, very soon that's going to require that you have all of this data. So if you ever do get audited, you can say, yes, we used Manus AI for the copy, we used, ChatGPT for the insights, and we used Higgsfield for the generation, right? So you're going to need to start adding this on all of your content pieces, having a backup of this so you understand where did this come from. We also have a social media AI label cheat sheet. All of the platforms, like Kamal mentioned before, are asking for you to start labeling when things are made with AI. This just shows you that all the different platforms, what they actually require. You can take a screenshot of that, or you can email us and we'll give this to you guys. It's not our cheat sheet, it's somebody else's, but you're welcome to zoom in on this, take a screenshot of this, or just email me again and we'll get it to you. So always label your content with AI generated if it is. So we want to run a quick webinar poll here. We're wrapping up soon here. We have this and then the questions. So you can start thinking about your questions, but we want to hear from you guys. We do these live streams to help you guys kick butt out there in the marketing world. And so we want to produce these to help you, right? So what things are really interesting you right now? What things are your pain points? What are your challenges? Please let us know in the poll and we'll let this run for like 1 second or so. How are we doing on time?
It's like 9 minutes left.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're in great
okay.
time. I love this. We're just getting these answers in right now. Do you want to know about employee-generated content in life sciences? That's a really good one. I mean, using your employees is a big win, specifically when LinkedIn sucks for company reach, right? You want to use your employees to get content out there. Or do you want to hear about creators? Creators are taking over every business area, specifically also in health. How can you actually work with them? How do you compete against them? Because you kind of have to do both. How do you be creative and compliant? We've also got a lot of experience making really creative campaigns within life sciences, but also walking that thin line of compliance. And last one, we talked a lot about Metas Andromeda today. If you want to hear more about how that's hitting you, how that's going to impact you, then let us know. So, and we'll share those poll results in the emails that are coming after this live stream to let you know about the next one. What is that going to be? So yeah, that's it from us. We would love to hear any questions that you guys have. If you have any, sometimes on these live streams, we find that people are a little shy to ask their questions, but if you have any, we'd love to take those today for you guys, from you guys, and we'll do our best to answer them. Emil's behind the keyboard as our moderator. He's checking to see if anybody has any questions. What questions do you have for us? I know you have some. Emilio? Nothing. We always crush it on these live streams.
You're also welcome to reach out to us after if you have any questions, any follow-ups. Also, if something specific to your company, we're happy to look into it.
It's funny, yeah. It's like, I think we just give you guys so much knowledge that you're like, oh, I'm exhausted now.
If it's too much noise, let us know as well. If it's too much information, always trying to get better here, right?
Yeah, the question could be, could you guys lighten it up a bit? Too much information.
Yeah.
All right. No questions, Emils? Great. Oh, one question.
There's one.
Is it possible to use agentic AI with promo ads?
Ah, that's a really good question. So we've actually experimented with this exact issue. So we would love to connect Viva to some sort of AI chatbot solution so that we could generate insights from already approved materials. We have not been successful at that. I know there's some systems that are working on this. I know that there's some bigger pharma brands working on this. And I do know there's some bigger agencies, we're sort of a boutique agency, that have been able to tap into this, some Viva specific partners. So it is coming, it is out there, and that's going to help you guys use Viva approved materials or stuff that your MLR has already gone through to produce content. Yeah, so that is coming. It is available soon, I think. So just keep an eye out for it. Ask Viva specifically. Go and say, hey, Viva, what tools do you guys have that are connecting our own AIs, our internal AIs to your system so that we can use our MLR approved stuff? So It's a great question. It's coming, if not here already. But we haven't been able to have enough access levels to be able to do that.
About another good question.
Yeah, next question.
Are you building AI? Sorry, there's one before that. How to balance authenticity when using AI in relation to audience and connection?
Yeah, that is the core issue, right? Like, how do you balance that authenticity? I think we don't believe you should replace patients with people just yet. There might be some drug areas, some life science areas where you can get away with it. We think that digital twins is actually probably the best approach for you guys right now. So taking actual humans, making a contract with them to say, hey, we would love to have you as our digital twin, so that you do get that authenticity at the same time, because you're not generating somebody from scratch. So that is really where you can do a lot of great work these days. So we believe that specifically in pharma, digital twins is the way to go to get that authenticity back in.
Then another question is, are you building AI over top managing all the tools, AI to run AI?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of showing you with the advanced workflow. That is AI on top of AI. So that is multiple tools based in that nodes, that agent. An AI agent is on top with multiple tools on that. We don't need to build that. Those systems exist. So we can just tap into those. I mentioned free pick spaces is what it's called. So FREEPIK spaces, free pick spaces is the node system that we use, which is essentially what you're asking for, which is an AI agent top layer with multiple tools underneath that it's asking to do certain things.
What do you do to improve prompts? Sometimes we struggle for us lies in getting AI to do the right thing.
Yeah, prompting is sort of a science. It's a guess and test thing. We experiment with different prompts all the time, all day, every second of the day. We are prompting and trying out new prompts and figuring out what works and what doesn't, and then going through massive amounts of written data, video data from all sorts of people in this space to find out what prompts are the best. And this is a huge area for you guys as marketers that you need to get yourselves involved in. You need to be learning about the way it is to prompt, what do I put in to get more and more. We could run a 3-day seminar on just prompting at this point, because it depends on all the things that you're trying to output. What are you trying to get to organize your prompts in the right way? The one thing I will give you as advice for this is, when you start to find results, remember those prompts. Oftentimes you're starting from scratch and you forget, how did I prompt this, or what did I say there? Always keep a logbook of your best prompts and your different things that you've put in, so that you can go back to that and use it again and again and again and refine it as you go.
Yeah, and there's a lot of prompt guides out there as well that you can get as your guidelines. But I would also say what Chris just mentioned before with the whole node system, the good thing about that is that sometimes it's not just the prompt, it's also how the system interprets that specific prompt, right? So when you have a system that allows you to test out different types of generative AI tools with the same prompt, you can basically choose out the best after that. And it's a bit more complex, but it really allows you also to see who actually understands my prompt the best.
It's like the prompt Olympics. You can kind of see, which system actually understands what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome.
Last question.
Yeah.
Any insights on how ads with AI-generated people, patients, users are perceived by the audiences? Is it perceived as less credible?
It is.
Yeah.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of examples already out there. Just look through your social media feed. As soon as something is AI, people will comment that it's AI, right? That's also why we don't want to hide it. That's how you lose credibility, if you try to fake it as well. On the other hand, also a lot of real footage is now being accused of being AI. So people can't really tell the difference anymore. But as long as you're transparent and honest, that's at least the first step. But also, if you want to test these grounds using AI, try also to find a creative concept that actually justifies the use of AI, just to see how it works with your audience. But I will say, if you're using AI for deception, saying that this is a real patient and it's not, then we have a problem with credibility, right? So transparency, and also just figuring out the right creative approach, figuring out the right areas to use AI in.
Yeah. And this is only the start of it. I mean, a lot of people will push back on this until it becomes ubiquitous, until you cannot tell the difference, until like all the regulations come in where you have to label it AI. There will be a point of no return where everybody just accepts it and be like, okay, we're gonna judge this based on the communication, based on the creative idea, not necessarily the production of it, right? So a lot of people scoffed. I don't have my phone with me, but a lot of people rolled their eyes when people started making videos with their iPhone, right? And they made them vertical instead of landscape. And then people would be like, oh, why are you doing this vertical video things? Now nobody would question if you made vertical video. So the means of production often gets criticized. And it just has to go through that ubiquitousness. It has to go through that adoption where then everybody's doing it and then nobody will care about it anymore and they'll judge it for the creative idea.
Yeah, and if you're on social media, for example, I mean, that's a perfect testing ground and sandbox for those things as well. You can type of content as well.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Great. No more questions? Amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining. We've really appreciated this, and thank you so much for the questions. There's a lot of more here that we could teach you guys, so we're excited for the next live streams to get more into it. And like I mentioned throughout numerous times, if you have questions, if you'd like advanced sort of workshops with your team, email us, chris@kubbco.com. Very easy to mail me. You probably all received a calendar invite with my email there, so it's there. So yeah, please reach out if you guys need anything, if you'd like any of the slides here, or if you'd like to send this off to your teammates, please do when you get the on-demand version. So thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.